The terror of the Russian occupiers. Ukrainian AI-powered drones are flying freely over Donetsk and taking out enemy logistics. Even more, while Russian soldiers thought they were safe deep in the rear. A drone built by a former Google director is hunting their supply trucks on the Mariupol-Donetsk highway, the main artery feeding entire Russian army groups, more than 100 kilometers behind the lines. On the other hand, Russian drones are also causing plenty of trouble. In this video, we're going to answer these key questions. What hits targets so deep in the rear that nobody expected it?
They thought they were safe.
How do you survive and keep fighting in a kill zone?
There are days when it's better not to come here at all.
Why are robots increasingly replacing humans?
80% of our battalion's logistics is carried out using ground robotic systems.
How are drones taking prisoners and storming enemy positions?
This operation was carried out without infantry involvement and without any losses on our side.
What matters more, high technology or combat experience?
Modern warfare. It's more modern than they think.
What will the next technological revolution in modern warfare look like?
We need a new technological leap here. That means AI technologies and new signal transmission technologies.
And can drones ever truly replace humans on the battlefield? You are watching Azov kamikaze drones flying over Russian-occupied Ukrainian Donetsk. Here, the central part of the city comes into frame. Now you can see the once famous Donbas Arena. But iconic landmarks are more for the PR reel. The real work happens on the supply routes. According to unofficial sources, National Guard soldiers demonstrated the work of Hornet drones from the American company Swiftbeat LLC. What makes them special? The manufacturer built in an AI focus from day one, making the drones more accurate and more resistant to EW jamming. Hit that like button if you also think modern war is impossible without drones. Of course, this game isn't one-sided. Ukrainian commanders acknowledge an approximate drone parity that has developed on the front. On both sides of the contact line, a more or less dense kill zone is increasingly taking shape, where drones control and attack everything, or nearly everything.
A kill zone is an area where all strike assets are concentrated, where there is constant surveillance and certain engineering obstacles. It's a zone of continuous fire where the enemy simply will not survive.
Right now, the kill zone stretches 15 kilometers from the line of contact. You can't drive a car in here. Soldiers have to cover that distance on foot, carrying supplies, under constant fire. Sometimes that journey takes a week or more. Right now, you are looking at Kostiantynivka streets. Did journalists accidentally end up in the middle of a firefight? No. These are Ukrainian soldiers shooting down enemy UAVs that appear in the sky on a regular basis. The city is almost entirely covered with anti-drone netting, but gaps remain. And recon drones are often just as dangerous as strike drones because they call in artillery. So here, everyone is their own air defense.
There are days when you can't keep up reloading magazines. Drone after drone keeps coming, and we're working constantly. For example, at this position we fire over 1,000 rounds a day.
Does that guarantee complete safety? Unfortunately, no. Hitting a small, fast-moving target isn't always possible.
Yesterday, I got lightly wounded. I shot down a drone right above me, and it fell 4 to 5 meters away. A tiny fragment, about 4 millimeters, flew under my shoulder blade.
Vehicles on the move face a particular danger. Because when you're riding in a car, it's hard not only to shoot back, it's even hard to hear that ominous buzzing. So infantry takes more casualties not on the positions themselves, but during movement.
There are days when it's better not to come here at all. People get out on foot. You can't drive all the way to the position itself. They take those little hand carts and haul everything to their positions themselves, because you physically cannot drive up to the position.
So what's the answer? Minimize human involvement. Don't put people under unnecessary risk. Let the machines take the risk instead. On the roads near the front, this futuristic scene is becoming more and more common. Unmanned vehicles travel along routes known only to their operators.
Soon our roads, at least the ones very close to the line of contact, to the front line, won't have cars on them. Probably only UGVs.
Why not deliver cargo by air? They've been doing that for a while. It's fast. But no UAV is going to handle, say, a 3-meter log. A UGV? No problem. A route that takes infantry a week or more. Ground drones typically cover in a few hours. Are they invulnerable? Unfortunately, no. Some frontline roads is literally littered with destroyed UGVs. Drones on this war became expendable a long time ago. The main thing is that it's not people, just pieces of metal. And even cold arithmetic speaks in favor of their widespread use.
The state today pays about $340,000 for the death of a Ukrainian soldier. One of these robotic systems about $45,000. But it makes life on the front line much easier, it seriously eases logistics for the armed forces, and ultimately it actually saves lives.
So what can ground robotic systems actually do? In reality, almost everything, which is why they're gaining more and more widespread use and significance. They're no longer a novelty, they're everyday reality. Above all, they've taken over frontline logistics, food, water, ammunition, fuel, construction materials. Without stable supply of these, any unit's combat capability drops to zero very quickly.
Without logistics, you can't hold the defensive line. Overall, we're like Glovo on the battlefield. A combat Glovo, infantry places the order, our guys log it, load it up, and deliver it. Works out pretty well, like courier delivery in a war format, couriers in uniform.
How does it work in practice? As darkness falls, the world goes to sleep. But UGV operators wake up. They pull their horses out of hiding, load them with what the infantry ordered, and send them off to the positions.
Right now, 80% of our battalion's logistics is carried out using ground robotic systems. We're not putting infantry soldiers at risk, soldiers who would otherwise have to carry their own position-building equipment, ammunition, water, weapons, and carry out evacuation of the killed and wounded. All of those moments have been taken over by ground robotic systems.
But is delivery always a peaceful affair? If you load a standard transport UGV with explosives, it becomes a powerful weapon. A vivid example of such a logistics sabotage operation is the destruction of an enemy river crossing by soldiers of the 3rd Army Corps.
Destroying that dam gave us the ability to delay the enemy's assault actions, slow the movement of their equipment, and change the enemy's overall plans.
What was the hardest part of that operation? Getting 3 aviation bombs with a combined weight of 750 kilograms, about 1,650 pounds, across off-road terrain into the enemy's tactical rear, without Russian drone operators spotting it and triggering an explosion of that rolling inferno near Ukrainian positions. But in the end, everything worked out, and the enemy crossing went under.
If you wanna see more videos like this, you should subscribe to the Weapons of Victory channel right now. It's an order.
Cargo platforms packed with explosives are increasingly becoming a standard method for destroying enemy positions. Looks primitive? A little, but it works. It's precisely thanks to these inconspicuous little cockroaches that the 3rd Assault Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces carried out an unprecedented operation back in the summer of 2025, capturing an enemy position with zero human involvement.
For the first time in the history of this war, an enemy position was taken exclusively by unmanned platforms, UGVs and drones. The occupiers surrendered, and this operation was carried out without infantry involvement and without any losses on our side.
Sounds like science fiction? It does. But in reality, it happened by accident. The operation was planned along a completely classic scenario.
A clearing operation was planned. We were supposed to work it, they were supposed to clean up.
Meaning the drones were supposed to be just the preparatory phase.
We decided to use FPVs. Have an FPV go in, clear the way, and immediately follow up with the UGV.
So what happened? The occupiers were so terrified by the first explosions that they decided to surrender almost immediately.
An explosion with 3 anti-tank mines. That's a very powerful blast. The bunker wasn't fully destroyed. We got the order to hit it again. We drove back up. They understood it was better not to mess with us. They saw this UGV and very quickly found a piece of cardboard somewhere. I have no idea where they found it in there. And found something to write with. And very quickly threw out this sign.
After that, a quadcopter escorted the prisoners to a safe location where Ukrainian infantry finally stepped onto the stage.
Our work, It reduces human losses. There's an opportunity not to put people under fire, and the main motivation is for our infantry to stay alive.
So does that mean assault UGVs just drive around and blow up at the right moment? Of course not. There are actually many variants of these machines. From mine-laying robots that silently place mines in locations where there were none yesterday, to genuine hunters armed to the teeth. One such drone, armed with a Browning heavy-caliber machine gun, replaced an entire defensive position and held off Russian attacks for a month and a half.
Its mission was to control an intersection from a certain populated area, from which enemy forces would periodically push forward. There were several engagement requests, and all of them were successful. The enemy was unable to advance through that sector and was constantly suppressed by fire from the Droid TV 12.7.
Where does that effectiveness come from? From the fact that this isn't just a machine gun bolted to a cart. Beyond day and night cameras, these drones are equipped with ballistic calculators and the same AI, so there's no reason to complain about accuracy.
We use artificial intelligence to identify targets, personnel, to lock onto them and engage them. It's a very good assistant in the hands of the operator of the system to more comfortably track targets, navigate, and engage those targets.
What matters more in war, destroying the enemy or saving your own? You could debate that for a long time, but when it comes to evacuating the wounded, ground drones have long since proven their ultimate effectiveness. Ukrainian military medics are writing history right now, giving the world truly epic rescue stories. Sometimes evacuation succeeds on the first try, sometimes on the third, and sometimes even on the 11th.
And I was really afraid that after the first mission failed, we wouldn't have another chance. Was really impressed with how persistent this whole operation and the whole staff was. It wasn't just like, we're gonna try one time, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It was again and again.
Drones are constantly evolving. Fitting evacuation UGVs with armored capsules has already saved wounded soldiers from secondary injuries many times over. Which UGVs perform better? Ukrainian ones, or those made by established Western manufacturers? Surprisingly, the Ukrainian ones. For decades, Ukraine steadily lost ground in technology rankings. But the war changed everything, and combat experience turned out to be more important than raw technology.
They built what seemed like the perfect system, but most of them don't pass the field test we put them through, because the conditions on a training range and the conditions on the line of contact are two completely different things. We opened their eyes to the fact that modern warfare is more modern than they think.
Ukraine is increasingly cementing its status as a drone superpower. It's even beginning to export its own technological solutions. The current UGV boom is being called the second technological revolution of this war by military personnel. What's next?
We need a new technological leap here. That means AI technologies and new signal transmission technologies. Because with what exists right now, I believe both we and the Russians have basically reached our maximum. Beyond this, it's only quantity, and that won't solve the problem.
And ultimately, what does the future of drones on the battlefield look like? Influential military commanders keep repeating that unmanned systems will never fully replace infantry. Is that a hard truth, or simply a failure of imagination? Because could we have imagined, back in 2022, that robots would be storming positions and taking prisoners without any direct human involvement? What do you think? Drop a comment. Can ground drones ever fully replace tanks, trucks, and even the queen of the battlefield, infantry? And make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of great content here. Stay safe and support Ukraine.